do a quick live tonight. Seems like a decent time to do it. So hope to be a few of you guys. I'll wait a couple minutes. I don't have any specific set topic tonight. It's just more or less a friendly chat. You guys can ask questions if you want or whatever, and we'll see what happens, I guess, would be the best thing. Not all doom and gloom, but man, I'll tell you, there's some events happening in the world. I'm sure some of you are aware of, at least. And I'm not talking politics, because I want to make it quite clear to everybody that I'm not a political guy. I'm not going to say that I endorse this or endorse that. I don't believe in man, period. Man has been an utter disgrace, in my opinion, a lot of the time. Not to say there isn't good men, because I know some of them. I know a lot of decent men and women. But what I mean by that is I don't put my faith in them, because time and time again I've been let down. And there's only a handful of people in my life, my personal life, that I know are reliable, and I know that they don't let me down, and they'll never let me down. And I'm the same way with them. Like, I mean, everybody's got all these followers and they got all these friends and stuff, and some of that is genuine, because it would have to be, wouldn't it? But the thing of it is, and this is what I always say, is if you can't call somebody at 3 o'clock in the morning, for instance, if you're in trouble or you got something big going on, if you can't call that person at 3 o'clock in the morning, are they really your friend? And have them come answer. Because I'm lucky enough in the sense that I've got a handful of people in my life that I can call, that I know will be there 100%, no questions asked. They're putting their pants on as I'm talking to them on the phone, looking for their keys, right? They're reliable. They've proven over time that they're reliable and they're dependable. And I don't just call them whenever I want something or I need something. I keep in touch with these people. Awareness Daily: is the legal name and the birth certificate title evidence of a business operated by a human generator? What do you mean exactly by a human generator? The legal name and the birth certificate title, well, that's got nothing to do with man. That's something that somebody else made. It depends on whether or not you want to claim ownership of that. I don't. I didn't create that. That's just a bunch of nonsense, in my opinion. I don't act in the public. I live in the private. Hi, Tanya. Good evening to you. Hello, Harry Smith. Human generator, legal entity. I don't deal with legal. I deal with lawful. I know a little bit about legal, but I don't work in that realm. So I really don't care about the legal system. It's got no bearing on my life whatsoever. Return to sender. Yeah, that's always a good idea. I don't have mine anymore. It's been rescission, sent back. But anyway, I want to just get on here and just say a few things. I mean, I don't have any specific topic, but hello, Lindsay. Hi, Tammy. But I just wanted to say that there's an awful mess going on right now. I can't say specifics because, of course, this platform doesn't allow that, but I'm not political. I want you guys to understand that. I'm not picking sides, and I'm not saying this, that, or the other thing. All I'm saying is they've got us in an awful bind at the moment. The entire planet has never been closer to full destruction, in my opinion, than it is right now. And I wasn't alive during the Cuban Missile Crisis, but my father and mother were, and they told me that the tensions were quite high during that period, and I believe them. But this is, in my opinion, 1,000 times worse than that. And I don't think anybody with any rational sense about them or any sane mind would ever want that type of destruction on even your worst enemy. I'm not talking about your friends and family, of course not, but even your worst enemy, you wouldn't wish that on them, right? No sane person would. But here we are. They're marching us right down the throat at full bore. There doesn't seem to be anybody with any sense. And good on the one person there who hasn't reacted. But how long do you think that's going to go on for until he has no choice but having to react in a way that there's no turning back from, right? And if you look down in history, and I was a soldier, if you look down in history, there's nobody that ever benefits from war other than people getting rich off of it. Where are the benefits? Where are the benefits to the average family, the average mother and father, the average the son, the average daughter? Where are the benefits? There aren't any, right? That's why I don't agree with it. I know people that went to war. I talk to them, and I point out to them to their face that it was a banker's war that they were over there fighting for in a lot of cases. I'm not saying that's the case every time, but it certainly seems like it. I know they're funded. A lot of wars both sides are funded at the same time. It's happened in every war. And it's just the level of nonsense is beyond comprehension at the moment. And they're coming at us with everything. And it's an awful coincidence, though, isn't it, that a certain thing happened in the United States and all of a sudden everything is just turned upside down? Why didn't this take place in July? Why didn't this take place in October or June or May or August? Right? In any case, it's ridiculous in its conception. I'm not going to stand behind any of that. I don't want any of that for my family or my friends, And people are thinking that they're going to just hide over here in North America and that it's not going to affect them. Wrong. Incorrect. If you want to get a real scare, go read about first strike capability. Pretty well every nation on the planet has a first strike doctrine now. That's scary in its own right? And it seems like there's a bunch of lunatics running around with their finger on the kill switch, And really, though, a lot of it is because we haven't been paying attention, And this place where I'm at in Canada, it's not a country, in my opinion. You guys know my belief system on that, but it just got slapped by a tariff, 25% from the big Don down the States there if they don't control the border. Well, the whole idea, in my opinion, was to bring them in here and not control it. And I don't think 25% is enough. I think it should be 100% or 50%. And I'm saying this from a position of that stuff all trickles downhill. It eventually affects everybody. I mean, even people that live in the private, you still have to purchase some goods, some services. Nobody is completely self-sufficient, I don't think. I've never met anybody that is 100% anyway. But it's just unbelievable. We're dealing with a bunch of corporations that are trying to contract with the flesh and blood. Again, here we are, right? Common law touching everybody again, and nobody has a bloody clue what it is hardly. And I pointed out, I commented to some woman's post there today, and she was talking about how we should all separate. Canada should separate and all become our sovereign provinces. And I pointed out to her that already happened. The Statute of Westminster, 1931, that already happened. But very few people have actually read any of the documents. They don't even know. They never read Ho Canada, Roger R. Smith, or any of that stuff. They have no idea what any of that is. I'm not saying I know everything, because I don't, guys. Listen, I learn every single day of my life that I'm alive. I learn something for sure, right? It's just that I do understand deep down in my soul when I'm being harmed and when I'm being lied to and when I'm being deceived. I don't know if you want to call it a blessing. It feels like a curse a lot of the time, being able to almost see inside of people. And I'm not saying from some spooky dooky evil standpoint. I mean, I have a discernment. I have an ability to see things that a lot of people don't look at or don't see, and I'm interested in things that people aren't interested in. So I guess that makes me some kind of a freak. I don't know. Maybe you guys can tell me. But the truth certainly sounds different than a lie. You know, I don't think we're meant to know everything. Some people seem to think that, oh well, if you do enough research and you do enough learning into things, that you'll automatically know everything. I don't think that's the case. I think there's some things that won't be revealed until later, if at all. Right? And I think that's on purpose. But anyway, we're living in a time where it's all delusion. It's all grand delusion, right? And everybody's so confused now after the whole hysteria with the you know what. What's true? What's not true? You know. And for myself, I use my intuition, and I use that yardstick. My faith, the Bible. If it doesn't ring true to me, and it's not in the Word, then to me it isn't. Right? And everybody's different. They use a different way of measuring. The problem is that everybody wants to be entertained 24/7. It's like the Colosseum in Rome. And that's the Romans were smart. They're like, entertain these people, give them entertainment, give them games, and they'll love you for it. It doesn't matter if you're taxing them to death, or you're destroying their livelihood or keeping them under check. They won't even notice because they're being entertained, right? People have such a low attention span nowadays. They also have a need for self gratification in a sense of immediate gratification. And if you even inconvenience people for even 10 seconds nowadays, and that's about all it takes, they start to get angrier and angrier and angrier. And I grew up in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, and I'll tell you, it was different then. People still did get angry, obviously, but they had a longer ability to cope with the inconvenience. They had a better coping mechanism. The world wasn't in such a giant bloody hurry as it seems to be right now, right? But I don't know, guys. I mean, I don't know what the answers all are. I just know what feels right, and I know what the Word says, right? And so that's what I go on. I really try not to judge. I try not to look at my fellow man and make opinions based on anything else, other than I try and give everybody the benefit of the doubt, and I want to know something about someone, and learn a little bit about where they're coming from before I make a judgment on it. But I think the sensible thing to do is to just be as good as you can and do your best. And at the end of the day, that's all you're going to be able to do, I think, is your best, right? Try at least. Do your best. The illusion was stronger in the past. Yeah, it was, because a lot of people are waking up to it to a certain extent. So much so that they're having a lot of problems because of it. And that may be one sign why they're so desperate now. The desperation level in the last month, in the last 3 or 4 weeks, has gone through the ceiling, guys. It's on overboard right now. If you were a tachometer on a race car, you're in the red at the moment. You're sitting there at $9,000, and the crank and the rods are only rated to $7,000. I don't know a better way to explain it than to use that mechanical term. Um, I'm Brazilian. I went to work anyway and forced Army's bans due on me. I'm studying a lot and practicing. I'm 16 years old. I'm not sure what you're asking me here, Gusta, Louise. But anyway, I appreciate everybody. I wanted to get on here, get on here tonight, basically to let you know that I'm still around. I still believe what I believe. I still appreciate you guys. I think about you often. Um, I feel like we are a bit of a family. We're a bit of a community here, and I really feel that way. Or else I wouldn't even bother. Really, I wouldn't try and teach anyone anything. I wouldn't try and learn myself. But I think that I'm meant to do something. I'm not sure if this is exactly what it's supposed to be, but I know I am supposed to speak. I'm supposed to say something, so that's what I'm doing. Um, yeah, I'm not part of the ruling class anywhere. I don't. The only ruling class that I see are tyrants at the current state of things. A bunch of treasonous tyrants that are getting away with unbelievable evil right now, and there doesn't seem to be any way to hold them to account, to hold them to check, because a lot of people are too ignorant and too lazy to do anything. They were already working 2 or 3 jobs to try and put bread on the table. And when they get home in the evening, the last thing they think they want to do is argue with the government or think about their enslavement or do any reading or research to try and figure out in their mind what the next course of action is. That's what I really think. Hey, Rochelle, good to see you on here. Kim, eyes open to truth. I met a woman randomly today, talking about her grandson in a store the other day, and we had the same idealism, etc. This is hard to find these days. It is, but you know what? If you get in the right circles, you'll be surprised how many people feel the way you feel. And it does bring us together to a certain extent. I mean, I talk a lot about things that are worldwide. I mean, it doesn't just apply to Canada. I have a lot of friends in the United States. I love everybody really, at all other countries. Um, but anyway, I don't know what the course is going to be. I just know that the Lord's in charge. He's in control. And sometimes if you let your mind race too much, it's not a good thing, because then you start doubting him. And, and you got to understand that his timeline and our timeline aren't the same thing, because we're not coming from where he's coming from, right? We're coming from the earthly realm, the limitations of the physical and mental body. We're not coming from a state of divineness or from holiness, and we don't work on a multi-dimensional realm like he does. So of course it's not going to be the same. But you're not alone. I don't want anyone to ever feel like they're alone. They're not alone. You're not alone, right? And the thing of it is, I listen to non-believers all the time, and they're like, well, I don't think that's true, and this and that. All you got to do is get out in nature, man, and you'll understand what I'm talking about. If you really take a really good, calm look at nature, you'll get to the point where you will see his handiwork in everything, and it can't be man-made, because it's so amazing on every realm that it defies logic. It defies logic in the human brain, right? How unbelievable it is. And I've often told people, just look at the human body if you want to see unbelievable things. If you want to see a machine that is so divinely made, so intricate, and works in so many different ways. The human brain alone is a mystery, and it's been studied forever. And even some of the brightest minds on the planet have studied it and still don't have it figured out. And that's only one system of a whole pile of systems that work together, that intertwine with each other and work as a unit. So I mean, it's if you don't want to call it God, don't call it God, but it's something greater than yourself, right? There has to be. There has to be. I know for a fact man didn't design this, but I'll tell you, uh, he's definitely at work in the minds of evil men, and the evil is at work in the minds of men to try and carry out their agenda. You see it all around you now, everywhere. Here in Nova Scotia, the choices are for elderly people that are living maybe on a little bit of money, not very much. It's either heat or food. You can't have both. You got to choose one or the other. And I know it's the same for a lot of places in the world right now. But you got to understand, we didn't grow up in super, super poor areas. Canada never used to be that way. It didn't. Because I grew up in the earlier times and I've seen the best, in my opinion. I've seen the best. And it didn't used to be that way. There was poor families, sure. But not to the extent that there is now, and what's coming. What's coming is unbelievable. So this is why I'm saying to you guys, I want you to get your mind right, get your heart right, and get your house in order. Right? There's never been a better time to do that than right now, while you still can. Right? So I'm always preaching storable food, storable water, batteries, flashlights, whatever you're going to need. If the lights go out, don't come back on for a while, because we don't know what's going to happen. Right? And everyone that's a Christian, and not all of them, but I shouldn't put everybody into the same thing. But I want to tell you something. Just because you're covered by the blood of Christ doesn't mean that you just get to sit there and wait for the rapture to happen. Okay? You got to do work too. You got to put in work. God expects you to do your share. Right? Now, I really believe that in my heart. I really do. He expects you to do your share. So, I mean, you believe what you believe. I'm not going to sit here and say pre-trib, post-trib, whatever. You believe whatever it is that's in your heart. But yeah, I spirit lead. I grew up poor. My mother preserved food for the winter. Yes, yes, I'm from that realm. My family were Irish immigrants. They came over here in 1904. It was the first one. And I learned and saw as a boy canning going on. I canned myself. I learned a lot of that stuff from them, how to grow a garden, canning, all that stuff. And if it wasn't for the fact they had food put away, they would have went hungry. There's no question in my mind. But see, spirit lead, a lot of people have forgotten those old ways because it didn't get passed on. Or the generation that should have taken the time out of their life to learn it didn't, because they were preoccupied with the lusts of the eyes, I guess, and the lusts of the flesh, right? Instead of learning the stuff. There's good books hopefully that are around to help people, and YouTube helps a lot of people with that stuff. And I can certainly shed some light on it to anybody that wants to learn how to can or preserve meat without refrigeration or any of those types of things. I know how to do all that. But if we would have just stayed true a little bit to the old ways and not divorced nature like we did, it would have been easier for us in these times. But it's just, I guess it's the plan. He gave us free will, right? And a lot of people they just go for easy. This is the sad truth too when it comes to any type of people coming together for the greater good and doing things that are difficult and hard. There's still some people in some communities that will do that. But if anything's hard nowadays, people don't want to do it. That's been my experience anyway. The harder it is, the less people do it, right? Whereas if you think back, our ancestors and our great-great-grandfathers and grandmothers, their life was hard from dawn until dusk. Every day their life was hard. They had to fight. They had to work extremely hard to feed themselves and to get anywhere. And they still managed, right? So what's changed between now and then? What are the things that you think that have changed, right? Yeah, that's true. Most folks aren't self-aware enough. They're ego-led. That's very true. I see that all the time. An Irish twang, yes, it is an Irish twang. Yeah, I went away and lived out west for 10 years, and I never lost it. Um, but it's always there, right? Grew up a single mother home, terrified at this time. Yet in my heart, I know God will give you. Yeah, He'll give you courage. He'll give you whatever you ask for. If you ask in His name, absolutely, He'll give you courage. And be of good cheer. Be strong in your mind and in your heart, and don't fear. I know it's hard not to with the world coming apart at the seams. It certainly is. It looks that way anyway from the outside. They're all hell bent in destruction, right? They're not realizing what it is they're doing. I don't know, I don't know all the answers why, but I do see it. There's no question, and things are going to get a lot harder. But that doesn't mean that you're not going to make it, or just get strong as you can. Try and learn to rely on people. If you can find a group of people you can trust, which is a hard thing, I know, but try and rely on others to share the load. Leave worries with the Creator. Be grateful and build on that. Yeah, and I get pulled down into the negatives too, guys. I'm only human. Remember, I'm just a man. I get pulled down there too sometimes, but the idea is not to give up. Our ancestors didn't, because if they had, we wouldn't be here right now, right? Did you ever ask yourself why it is you're alive in these times? Whereas other generations, let's say 80s, 70s, it didn't deal with any of this craziness at the moment. They dealt with their own things, though, in their own way. But it just seems like it's coming apart at the seams these days, right? Yeah, I mean, I think back on that. I'm going back to my poor days when I had less, but still made it. Yeah, I think back on that all the time. It's a terrible saying, but the Irish have a saying that says, I don't have a pot to piss in or a window to throw it out of. Well, that was true, for most of my life, especially my 20s. And always found a way, though, right? Always found a way to make enough to get through. But anyway, I appreciate you guys giving your time to listen to me talk. I understand that I'm taking you away from your families and whatnot, and I appreciate you giving me the time. I won't hold you too long. I just wanted to get on here and say hello. Yeah, I've got a million other sayings that I learned. Some of them make sense, and some of them don't. They make sense to me just because I grew up around it. Matthew 24:13. But he who endures to the end shall be saved. And the gospel of the kingdom will be preached in all the world as a witness to all the nations, and then the end will come. Yep. And I don't look at it as the end, because I don't really think that. I think it's just the beginning. But I'm from one of the poorest neighborhoods in Detroit, Brightmoor. Okay. Yeah, I'm sure it's every bit as bad as you're saying it is. But you find a way, even though, to get by, right? I mean, you've got your own support system there, I'm sure, because people are survivors. They really are. I mean, even they can endure the most impossible situations, right? The most impossible situations, and still find a way to get through, right? Watch your CL Foundation video is very informative. Thanks for sharing. Yeah, Chris, no problem, buddy. I'll have some more common law stuff coming up here. Like I was mentioning to you, I'll have a little more time, hopefully, God willing. I'll have a little more time here to do some more. You have to look at what you have and not what you want, and what you don't have. Yeah, and that's true, and people, they get so tied up with their life and what they don't have and their struggles that they sometimes forget to count their blessings, and to be thankful for what it is they do have, and the time that they do have, and the people that they do have around them. Because I know that can all disappear in a heartbeat, because I've had it all happen to me, right? I know what it's like to see death up close and personal. I've witnessed it. It's heartbreaking. It's something that it gets in your soul. It never leaves you ever. It's there forever. I know what it's like to be doing without and to suffer and to struggle. And we all do to a certain degree, but we got to be thankful for what we have, right? We really do. And I think if we were more thankful we counted our blessings more, we might open ourselves up to more blessing, and more opportunities to do good, right? Life is suffering. It can be. It is for some people. It's always hard for some people sometimes, not all the time. I've had my share of blessings, that's for sure, man. That's for sure. I've also had my share of heartache as well, and suffering, and just unbelievable things have gone on in my life, right? And I know you all have the same stories, at least. I love you, man. I've been listening to you for some time now. Thank you for your efforts. It's not all in vain. Helped me a lot already just to see you standing up and living it. Yeah, I'm not perfect though. I make mistakes all the time. I don't have it all figured out. I just know, like I said in my last video there, I know what I am and what I'm not. And when you come at it from that standpoint, you can understand when someone's trying to take advantage of you or when they're trying to control you. You see it a lot clearer, like a lot clearer. It's almost like a big red light comes on over it, right? You ask yourself, why is it you're reacting the way you're reacting? Why is it you're trying to control me right now? Am I not free? Am I not free to make up my own mind, to make my own mistakes, to make my own choices? The truth of the matter is you're not, because they think they own you. But you are in another sense. You got to, like I said, you got to get it right in your heart and in your mind. You got to get it right up here before you even try and act or try and live in the private, which is not easy. But a lot of people say, well, how do you make a living? How do you do this? And how do you do that? Sacrifice. That's how I do it. I don't need comfort all the time. I'm willing to live with less. I'm willing to forego some of the modern day conveniences for peace of mind, if that makes sense to anybody. Right? But, I'm sure everybody's got their own tales to tell. There's no question. Yeah, many people in other parts of the world have so much less. They absolutely 100% do. I'm not arguing that fact at all, because I know that's true. But they got their own struggles over there too, in these other areas that have less. And they're smart. They've learned to adapt. They've learned to overcome. They've learned to use their brain and to overcome and to use what they've got. Right? I'll give you an example. I watch videos from Pakistan and some of these other countries where they're doing mechanical videos. They're rebuilding bulldozer engines and big transmission assemblies and everything. And they're doing it all on the ground with simple tools. And they find innovative ways to do the job. Right? And it obviously works because they put these great big machines back together and they work perfectly. So they figured out how to do it with nothing. Right? And that's the whole deal. But anyway, yeah, so I'm just, like I said, just getting on here for a chat. I probably won't hold you guys too much longer, but I appreciate yous. You're not alone. You do everything you can do to make your situation better. Try and be good to each other. I know it's hard. I don't get along with everybody. I got my share of enemies, that's for sure. But I do my best to try to get along with folks. I don't go out of my way to harm anyone, that's for sure. I don't go out of my way to make someone look bad or to make them feel bad or to harm them in any way, right? The only time you'll ever see the nasty part of me is if you do something that endangers my life or my family or my friends or my peace, that's when you're going to see the worst of me, right? That's something I don't advise anybody to get on that side of me, because it's not a good place for you. You know, and very, very seldom go there. And I don't like going there because it's not a good energy. But you have to be able to defend yourself in this land. And in these times, you have to know what a threat is and what a threat isn't, right? And we're all under threat, and that's the reality. And this is not Disneyland, and this is not a movie. This is real life, and it's happening 24/7. And we may not like everything that goes on, and we might not like the spirit of some people that we're around. But I would just say to you to try and distance yourself from it as much as you possibly can. That doesn't mean you have to be a hermit, but you should try and distance yourself from the chaos as much as you can, right? You'll know when it's right and when it isn't right, because your soul will tell you, your spirit will tell you when it's proper or if it's not proper. But anyway, do your best. That's all. That's all. At the end of the day, any of us can do anyway. Try and find something that gives you peace. Would be my suggestion, other than to get ready for the worst. And I'm not saying that it's going to happen now or tomorrow or whatever, but I mean, the way things are going, all the indicators, all the signs point at it, and they have for a while. So take it as a warning, but be glad that you still have the time to do something about it, right? Use that time as wisely as you can, would be my suggestion to everybody. But in any case, I'm not going to stay on here much longer. I think I'm just going to wrap it up. I appreciate you guys giving me your time. I will try and get some more videos out as I'm able to do it. I'm still doing some jobs for people that are going to get wrapped up here fairly soon, within the next little while. So I should have a little more time to do that type of thing. But God's peace to all you guys. You know, do your best, and I'm not your enemy. I'm your friend. And I'll always tell you the truth. To the best of my ability, I'll share the information that I have to the best of my ability, but I ask that everybody does their own research and that they actually check into the things that I say, you know, because like I said, I'm not right all the time, but I know what I know, and work towards getting yourself in a position that's favorable so that people can't rob your peace from you, whatever that is for each individual person. That'd be a good place to take. Don't close your mind to learning. Try and learn something new every day if you can. And I'll say goodnight to you. I love all you guys. Peace out.